the gap disappears. Now, say if you play around with this for a single tile, I think you'll find very quickly that you get the hang of it. The one nice thing is if you get it wrong, you'll just get great big gaps in your installation and the figures will be wildly wrong and you'll know it. So just keep playing around with these repeaters until you get basically no gaps on here. But what you've got is on these 9 tiles you've got the ability to change colours on each one. So if I double click on, say, this tile, I can now set the colour for that tile. Now I can double click on that one, change the colour for that tile. So what I've got is 9 tiles. These 7 are grey, and then I've got an orange and a red, and then that block gets repeated through the job. So again, let's put in another colour in there. Okay, so you can take your block of 9 by 9 tiles, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in 3 of these orange, 3 of those burgundy. So now what I've got is 3 orange, 3 burgundy, 2 grey, 1 yellow. Okay, so I press OK, and that grid goes in there. What you'll notice is these parameters of 1 foot all disappear because now the program has changed, so it's now the only way you can change these tiles is to go to the designer and play around with them. Now if I press OK on that and I change the product to grid of tiles, zoom out, quantify that, you can see that that grid that I've defined has gone across the entire plan. So I've been able to create a pattern on the floor by creating a grid, putting the colours within it, and the program does the rest. Now this is quite similar to the old program which allowed you to create a grid of tiles and then colour them in. There's a lot more flexibility in this though. And one other feature is that when in this design I've got 9 tiles, 3 of which are in orange, 3 are in burgundy, 2 grey, 1 yellow. What I might want to say is, okay, those are the numbers I want. So for every 9 tiles, 1 of them should be yellow, 3 of them should be orange, 3 of them burgundy, etc. But I don't want them to be placed in nice rows like that. I want to keep those number of tiles but randomize the colors throughout the entire installation. So I just press this randomize colors, re-quantify, and now what's happened is that we've got pretty much the same number of tiles in each color, but they're just scattered through the installation to give us a good random coverage. And when we look over here, we should find that they break down into those ratios that we've defined in the grid. You may find that it's not absolutely exact because, you know, for example, if you've got for every 9 tiles you need 1 in yellow, well, that will only work if the room has a number of tiles which is exactly divisible by 9. So you may find 1 or 2 difference, but not enough to actually affect the appearance of the installation. And besides which, when you come on site, all you're doing is you're giving those tiles to your installers and then saying fit them randomly. I don't think anybody would expect the installers to actually fit each tile in exactly the right place. But if they do, it will work. So that's randomizing colors. Let's just have a look at one more here. Checkerboard. Yeah, we've got wood strip flooring. Pop that down. That again is giving us a random start on the tiles, so we're using a narrow strip of flooring. Put in a different color. And there we have it. So you've got a wood strip. So with these new features within Callidus for the grids, without going any further in the program, you've got a lot more flexibility to be able to handle different types of installation. And I think for the general contractor who's not particularly involved with ceramics or specialist floors, you know, you won't have to go much further than these 2 dialog boxes here to get the effects that you want. So when it comes on to ceramic type tiles, And in some cases this may be applicable to carpet tiles, but it's far more in ceramic tiles. It's quite often the case that you may need to create a grid of tiles, and within the new program this is pretty straightforward. What I'm going to do is I'm going to create a simple tile here and then invoke the designer. So what I have is a 1 foot tile which just repeats itself. I'll just tone down the colour on that a little bit so that we can see it a bit more clearly. Now what I do is I press add, because I want to add a tile to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a half tile. So what you can see is, because this is a full tile, half tile, we get a 6 inch by 6 inch. Now I'm going to add another half tile, and what I can do now is I pick up that tile and drag it into place. Move the repeater back. Again, let's change the colour of that tile. Let's put it something just a little bit different, and go there. So now I've got one full foot tile and two 6 inch by 6 inch tiles. Okay, now you'll notice that in this case, well, let's just leave it like that with a single foot tile, two 6 inch tiles. Press OK, press OK, bring it to the simple tile, re-quantify, and that then gives me that grid across the room. And when I do the summary over here, we've got 3 tiles. We've got 1 foot in yellow, 468, the 6 inch light orange, 465, and a 6 inch darker orange, 469. Okay, so that's just a very, very straightforward full tile with 2 half tiles. One other feature here I can show you with the repeater is that this box here tells me that once I've put down that tile, that tile and that tile, in the next row down this large tile goes directly underneath it. Now if I want to stagger that across, I just slide that across, and what you see now over here is that I've got a yellow tile here, and in the next row it goes directly under those 2 half tiles. So I'm able to basically put this next tile wherever I want. If I want to stagger it across, I just put it to where it needs to be, and then when I quantify, instead of just getting straight rows across the room, we've got this stagger, which I think creates a better view of it. And again, I can, if I change the pile direction, run off a different wall, quantify that, the whole grid is changed around for me. So within the tile editor, if I go into it, I can do other things now. I can go in here and I can put in, maybe I want to put in a full tile in width, half tile in length, and then I'm going to put that there, and then add a half tile by half tile, drop that in there, bring back the repeaters, change my colours, so where do you end with this? Well, I suppose there is no end to it really. You can build up any complexity of tile grid within this. Again, it just takes a little practice, but I think what you'll need to do is, if you're looking at somebody's brochure showing you a grid that they want, if you just work out how the repeaters go and then build your grid up, pop in the repeaters, the program should look after it all for you. At this stage in the program, there are, we'd be very interested to hear how people get on with this designer, especially if you're finding it a struggle. It shouldn't be it might be a little bit to start with, but if you're really finding it difficult, then we'd be very interested to talk to you just to see whether we can address any problems that you're having with it. But again, pop that in and we've got our grids across the room and our breakdown of colours over here. So again, as with all these features within the tile program, the emphasis has been on allowing you to just plonk grids of tiles across rooms, paint them in, do what you need to, and then the program will follow you through here. One thing which is could be useful is that you've got your grid of tiles here, But say you want to just put in the occasional bright red one. Okay, so you select red, and then I want to go into painting, and so I can just paint these tiles here, so that when I zoom out, for some reason I've decided that I just want some red tiles in the middle of my room. Well, that same feature that works for square grids of tiles works for these irregular grids as well. And again, go in and do your colour summary, and you'll now find that bright red is in there as well. The last feature I want to show on this is if you're doing ordinary tiles. Let's just go to a nice simple tile here, and say somebody has presented you with, well, this is a graphical image of what that tile looks like. You can go to the designer and double click on it, and then click on the image file, and this allows you to pull up some images, and I'll just pull up one here which is a fairly distinct one, and you can see that that image goes into the job, and because it's just a single tile it just repeats and repeats. So what I might want to do is to put in the next tile as being quarter turned. So I add a tile which will be a full tile, double click, I add the same image, but now I put the rotation as 90 degrees, and now I get that single tile with the next one quarter turned. Gives me a nice abstract across the room. I can stagger that across, and that looks quite impressive. So I press OK, cover it in that tile, quantify it, and you'll notice that the program gives you a good representation of what that floor is going to look like. And if you want to send that back to your client to say, this is what we think the floor is going to look like, I press this button here, and this allows me to create a file. I'll just call it test. I can put in the size of the image in pixels, so 2000 will produce a reasonable size image. If you go above 10,000 it'll be huge, but 2000 should be okay just to start with. Press OK, and I'll just bring that image over here, and now what's happened is that has created an external graphical image. It's actually in the PNG format, but that can be sent to any customer. They can view it, they can process it in Photoshop, put perspective on it, slide it down, put it inside the room. And the nice thing is that all those images are totally to scale, so that if you are if you've got, if your fitters, installers take those tiles and fit them down, they are the right size within the scale of the room, so it scales the graphics down perfectly for you. Okay. Well, again, I'd like to thank you for watching this film, and hopefully that will have shown you some of the new features in the program. We're pretty excited by what's been going on in the software. We know over many years that although the tile program within Callidus does exactly what it's supposed to do, there are some parts of the industry which it hasn't covered with very well. And we believe this new feature system within the program addresses all of those. We think it's a very exciting product. There are other things which will be coming in, so being able to do ceramic walls with feature strips and bull noses and what have you with graphical images. So that's does work, but it isn't quite ready yet. But at this stage what we'd be really keen on is for users to take the program, to try it out, whether it's just for straightforward 50 centimeter tiles, just to make sure all that's working, and then start doing some more complicated grid work and even tile images. If you take the program, do use it, do let us know of any ideas you have or any problems that you find. One note of caution is that the file format within this new program is not compatible with the old program. So although if you take this program you'll be able to read drawings in, your old program will not be able to read them back again. So what I would suggest is you start with just a couple of simple jobs, make sure you're happy with what the program is doing, and always have yourself a a fallback to the old program if there are problems. We don't think you will have problems. We've been testing it internally for quite a few weeks now,